GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Dupuis. A tragic incident on 39th Street left a woman dead and a man seriously injured, while the mayor is urging a restart of the Eastern REM extension. And downtown's Kawa Cafe just opened a new spot. Over to you, Ryan.
UP has been nominated for the Best NHL Mascot Award, joining other candidates across the league this season.
The nomination reflects UP's role at Canadians' home games and his frequent interactions with fans.
UP's nomination was announced earlier this week as part of the NHL's annual mascot recognition program.
All right, let's get into it and start the news with today's top headlines for Montreal. Here are our top stories. Police found a woman dead and a man critically injured inside an apartment on 39th Street this afternoon, responding to a distress call from the residents. Jesse Cartier has the full story.
Police arrived at a third-floor apartment on 39th Street shortly after 2:25 this afternoon after neighbors reported a disturbance. Officers found a woman unresponsive on the living room floor and pronounced her deceased at the scene. A male occupant was discovered with severe injuries and was rushed to a nearby hospital for critical care. The Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal secured the building, began a preliminary investigation, and are canvassing the area for witnesses. Forensic teams are processing the apartment while detectives interview those present. The unit was sealed off as investigators continue to collect evidence. Jesse Cartier, GMNA News, 39th Street.
Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada announced yesterday that the city will pursue a revival of the long-shelved eastern extension of the Réseau Express Métropolitain. After a series of feasibility studies that cost $94 million, municipal officials say the analysis shows sufficient demand to justify reopening the project. The REM, which already links the downtown core to the South Shore, the airport, and the West Island, had its eastern branch cancelled last year amid budget constraints. Ferrada stressed that restoring the line would improve transit access for residents in the east, reduce congestion on Autoroute 40, and support new housing developments along the corridor. The city plans to submit a revised business case to provincial partners within the next few weeks, aiming to secure funding and begin detailed design work for the region's future.
Unions are rallying in the Old Port, denouncing what they describe as a covert privatization that they say is curbing public access to the waterfront. Protest signs have sprung up over the past several days, bearing slogans that demand the city keep the riverfront open to all citizens. Union leaders allege recent policy shifts have handed control of key docks and promenade areas to private operators, limiting free entry points and charging fees where none existed before. They are pressing the municipal government for clarification and a reversal of the measures, warning that the historic public space could become a gated enclave. Demonstrators have gathered at the main quay and along the promenade, maintaining a visible presence as negotiations continue. Officials have not yet responded publicly, and the dispute remains unresolved as the protest persists.
A new agreement on the Churchill Falls Power Project was announced by the Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador and federal governments, revising electricity terms and potentially shaping the upcoming Quebec provincial election. Jesse Cartier has the full story.
Officials from the Quebec government, the Newfoundland and Labrador government, and the federal cabinet gathered today to unveil a revised electricity pact for the Churchill Falls project. The new terms adjust how power generated at the hydroelectric complex in Labrador will be sold to Quebec, increasing the volume of electricity that can be exported and revising the price schedule. Both provincial leaders said the agreement will bring additional revenue to Labrador and secure a steady supply of clean energy for Quebec households. Federal ministers highlighted the deal's role in supporting national energy security and noted its timing ahead of the upcoming provincial election in Quebec. The three governments said they will monitor implementation over the coming months. Jesse Cartier, GMNA News, Montreal.
The City of Montreal has turned down the request to greenlight a new school in the Park Extension neighborhood, citing the need for solid proof of future student numbers before any construction can move forward. Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada confirmed the decision on Monday afternoon after the Centre de Services Scolaires de Montreal presented updated enrollment forecasts. While the school board's latest analysis suggests a rise in the local school-age population, municipal officials say the data must be independently validated to ensure the project matches actual demand. The delay stalls plans to add capacity in an area already facing crowded classrooms, and city planners indicated they will revisit the proposal once the enrollment figures are confirmed. Parents and community groups are awaiting the next steps from both the board and the city. Later, we'll hear how the lab leading Canada's pandemic preparedness push is shaping our safety. Then back to you. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Blue-collar workers in the city have warned that their union may walk off the job when the world's top cyclists descend on the island this September for the UCI Road World Championships. Union officials said negotiations over wages and safety standards have stalled, and members could vote for a strike as the international event approaches. The potential work stoppage would affect a range of municipal services, from transit crews to sanitation staff, raising concerns about disruptions for athletes, spectators, and local businesses that rely on smooth operations during the race. City officials have urged both sides to return to the table quickly, emphasizing the importance of keeping the championship running without interruption. The union has not set a precise date, but the threat looms as the September competition draws near.
Oliver Jones, the 91-year-old Montreal jazz legend, will be honored with a public funeral on Monday, 17 August 2026, at Union United Church in Little Burgundy. Denis Lariviere has the full story.
At Union United Church in Little Burgundy, a public funeral is being arranged for Oliver Jones, the Montreal pianist whose career spanned more than 7 decades. The service, set for Monday evening, will bring together friends, family, and the city's jazz community to honor a man who first sat at a keyboard at 5 years old. Jones passed away on July 22nd this year, just weeks after turning 91. Organizers say the ceremony will feature a tribute from local musicians and a moment of silence for the legend's influence on Canadian jazz. The church doors will open at 8:06, with seating limited to those who register in advance. Denis Lariviere, GMNA News, Little Burgundy.
Yesterday, researchers at Polytechnique Montreal announced the launch of a national laboratory aimed at bolstering Canada's pandemic preparedness. The facility will coordinate tools and strategies to anticipate and mitigate future outbreaks, building on the 6-year lessons learned since COVID-19 laid bare global vulnerabilities. Lead scientists said the center will integrate epidemiological modeling, rapid diagnostic development, and supply chain resilience into a unified framework for federal and provincial health agencies. Funding partners include the Federal Health Ministry and several provincial research councils, all committing resources to ensure rapid response capabilities. The initiative also plans to train a new generation of public health engineers and to establish real-time data sharing protocols across the country. Officials emphasize that the coordinated effort seeks to close gaps exposed during the recent pandemic and to protect Canadians from the next health crisis.
Authorities announced Monday that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police have secured an ancient Peruvian ceremonial bowl uncovered in the city and are moving it back to its country of origin. The recovery followed a formal request from the Peruvian embassy, which asked Global Affairs Canada to coordinate the artifact's return. Police officials said the bowl, believed to date from pre-colonial times, was identified during a routine investigation and confirmed as cultural property under international conventions. Embassy representatives were present as the item was transferred to a secure transport destined for Lima. Canadian officials emphasized the cooperation between law enforcement and diplomatic channels as a model for protecting heritage objects. The repatriation process is now underway, with plans to deliver the bowl to Peruvian authorities within the coming weeks. The ceremony will be documented by both governments to ensure transparency. Cultural experts will assess the bowl's condition upon arrival.
Quebec's Auditor General says the upcoming government must trim at least $2 billion in spending next year to stay on track for a balanced budget, warning parties have little room for new promises. Marion Kate has the full story.
The Auditor General told lawmakers that the incoming provincial administration will have to trim at least $2 billion from its budget beginning next year if it wants to stay on course for a balanced ledger by 2027. Officials in Quebec City are already mapping out the cuts, focusing on program efficiencies and deferred projects. The report warns that political parties have little room left for fresh spending promises without jeopardizing the fiscal target. Analysts say the warning could shape campaign platforms as parties weigh the cost of new initiatives against the need to keep the books in the black. The message arrives as the province pushes hard toward its first balanced budget in years. Marion Kate, GMNA News, Montreal.
Now let's turn to your morning forecast and see what the day holds for us.
A steady high-pressure ridge and a westerly jet keep Montreal dry, while temperatures climb toward midsummer peaks. On this date, the all-time high sits at 30.9 Celsius, recorded in 2015 during an unprecedented heat wave that pushed the region into the upper 30s for several days. The all-time low is 9.2 Celsius, set in 2025 when a sudden Arctic dip sent a burst of polar air across the province, dropping temperatures well below the seasonal norm. By comparison, the climate normal high hovers around 24 Celsius and the normal low near 16, underscoring how today's readings sit comfortably between those extremes. Radar shows no echoes across the map, confirming the high-pressure ridge and weak moisture gradient. With the westerly jet aloft steering any disturbances far north, no precipitation is expected to reach the city today. The atmosphere remains stable, humidity high, but with little lift, so clouds will be thin and short-lived. Turning now to the day's outlook. At 7 a.m. Montreal sits under a clear sky with a temperature of 16 Celsius, humidity 88%, and a light northwest breeze gusting up to 21 kilometers per hour. The high-pressure system remains steady, while a westerly jet at 140 kilometers per hour streams overhead, suppressing upward motion and keeping moisture locked out. Temperatures will climb steadily, reaching 22 Celsius by midday and peaking near 25 Celsius this afternoon as sunshine dominates. The wind will stay gentle, shifting to the west and maxing out around 13 kilometers per hour. UV index holds at 4 and no weather alerts are in effect. By evening, clouds will drift back in, bringing a mild low of 16 Celsius around sunset. Looking ahead, Tuesday stays overcast with a high near 24 Celsius and a low around 15, a modest dip after today's warmth. Wednesday brings another overcast spell, high 22 and low 16, but the model shows 65% rain, indicating a lingering frontal band moving eastward. Thursday clears dramatically, offering a crisp high of 24 and a low of 16 as the ridge re-establishes itself. Friday returns to overcast conditions, mirroring Thursday's temperatures of 24 up and 16 down, though breezes will pick up modestly. Saturday promises the warmest stretch, clear skies, and a high of 26 with a low of 17, setting the stage for a pleasant weekend. The pattern remains anchored by the persistent high-pressure ridge and the westerly jet, keeping the region generally dry through the period. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunrise is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic updates, a look at the new Kawa Cafe downtown, and a preview of tonight's Pony Gold concert. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
All the major arteries are moving smoothly this morning. Autoroute Quinns northbound, Autoroute Vingt, and the downtown loop on Rue Sherbrooke are clear, as are Boulevard St. Laurent and the east-west stretch of Autoroute Vingt Quater. The Turcotte interchange shows no delays, and downtown corridors like Rue St. Denis and Rue Peel are at normal speed. No accidents, no roadwork, and the commuter rail and metro are on schedule. Looking ahead, the afternoon rush will likely tighten around the Daiquiri interchange on Autoroute Quinns and the southbound lanes of Rue Notre Dame. Expect a build-up near the Université de Montreal campus and on the east side of the Ville-Marie Tunnel. Champlain Bridge work adds a few minutes. Drivers heading toward the South Shore on Autoroute 10 should allow extra time at the St. Lawrence crossing as volumes rise after 2 p.m. Transit remains uninterrupted. Green and orange lines run on time with normal frequencies. Stay tuned for updates.
The big story this week is the MLS clash at Stade Saputo. LA Galaxy taking on CF Montreal on August 22nd. A must-watch for soccer fans, as the teams battle for a playoff spot with a packed stadium expected. In today's lineup, singer-songwriter Pony Gold lights up the Greenbrier with an intimate set, perfect for a quick coffee break. Also at the Greenbrier tent, Peasler follows with another acoustic showcase, offering a mellow soundtrack to your afternoon. If you're in the mood for networking, the CORIM conference is underway at the Montreal Convention Center, bringing together experts on international relations and commerce. Looking ahead, Disney's The Lion King opens tomorrow at Salle Wilfrid Pelletier, promising spectacular costumes, dazzling choreography, and music for families. And for those who love the outdoors, Picnic Electronic continues at Parc Jean Drapeau, where electronic beats fill the summer evenings under the stars. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Habs' off-season business is piling up, and camp is getting closer. Montreal still has unfinished contract business heading into camp. Arbor X-Hekej and Zachary Bolduc are among the Canadiens' restricted free agents who remain unsigned. These are roster pieces the organization needs locked up before training camp opens. Every day without a deal is a distraction the front office can't afford. On a lighter note, Alexei Vlasov has earned a rookie camp invitation, and Yupi is in the running for best NHL mascot. NHL Network has put some national respect on Jacob Dobish, ranking the Canadiens' netminder 10th among all goaltenders league-wide in their preseason rankings. For a franchise still building toward contention, having your starter cracking a top 10 list before a puck drops is exactly the kind of foundation you want between the pipes. Jard Davidson checks in at 20th in the Canadiens' annual top 25 under 25 rankings, and his season tells you why. 9 goals and 2 assists in 13 games with Laval earned him his NHL debut. Then the wheels came off, 7 goals and 7 assists over his final 40 games, dropping from 24 goals the prior year down to 16. The talent is real. The consistency question is what camp needs to answer. A lot of open questions in Montreal. Camp will answer every one of them.
Thanks, Tyler. Kawa Cafe on St. Catherine Street West in downtown Montreal just opened its doors, bringing its famous, generously filled sandwiches to the heart of the city. Known for baking each loaf to order, the shop crafts hearty meals that feel like a warm hug on a busy street. The new location adds a cozy, community-focused spot for office workers, students and passersby looking for a quick, quality bite. By choosing a walk-up space on a bustling corridor, Kawa is energizing the local economy and giving the neighborhood a fresh reason to pause and connect. It's the kind of neighborhood anchor that reminds us why Montreal's food scene feels like home. It's a place where strangers become friends over fresh bread. Stay tuned as we break down Quebec's preparation for the upcoming provincial election and the Auditor General's take on the new budget.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Quebec is entering the official campaign period as the provincial election draws near, with parties mobilizing across the province and voters gearing up for a decisive vote. Denise Lariviere has the full story.
Quebec has officially entered the campaign period as the date for the next provincial election draws nearer. With the clock ticking, political parties are now free to begin their outreach, candidates will start meeting constituents, and the Electoral Authority is busy readying polling stations. Over the coming weeks, the province will see rallies, debates, and voter information drives. Residents are being reminded to verify their registration and to watch for the slate of campaign ads that will roll out across the region. The campaign window will run for several weeks before the ballot is cast. Election officials are also distributing voter information guides and setting up training sessions for poll workers. Denise Lariviere, GMNA News, Montreal.
Quebec's Auditor General released a report comparing the current budget plan to the Couillard-Leitao administration's, flagging potential impacts on public services. Jesse Cartier has the full story.
The Quebec Auditor General has just released a comprehensive review of the province's latest fiscal plan, measuring it against the budgets rolled out during the Couillard-Leitao administrations. The analysis points to a series of new spending constraints and revenue targets that diverge sharply from the earlier approaches, with projected deficits rising faster than in those prior terms. The report warns that meeting the required budgetary adjustments may force cuts or reallocations in healthcare, education, and transportation services that residents rely on daily. Officials from the Finance Ministry say the changes are aimed at stabilizing debt, while opposition leaders argue the plan could strain already tight public programs. The auditor's findings will be debated in the upcoming legislative session. Jesse Cartier, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us this morning. Tonight's tribute to jazz legend Oliver Jones reminded us how music weaves our community together. I appreciate your trust in the local sunrise. Stay safe, stay curious, and tune in tomorrow for more stories that matter to our city.